All right. All right. Intro, please.
Okay.
Yes.
My name is Meaghan Lightfoot. I work in the Cohen Lab here in Lewis. My work mainly focuses on the Arctic in terms of visual sensitivity of zooplankton in response to artificial light, and also how that's going to be impacted with climate change. As the Arctic starts to warm, more light is introduced, and I also do work with zooplankton and crab larvae in the Delaware Bay.
Does it involve any ecology shit? Does that go in your intro?
Yes.
Impacts.
Yes. In terms of the population dynamics and ecology that way, their place in the trophic system.
Where is their place on the trophic system?
Zooplankton?
Larvae. Crab larvae.
Probably the same with zooplankton. They're considered a zooplankton, so right above phytoplankton. So still at the basis of it.
Cool. Yeah.
But they're heavily impacted by phytoplankton abundance, which is fun.
Which is fun.
You can never know. It's a lot of predator-prey implications because
Yeah.
I deal a lot with vertical migrators. So if more light is introduced, they become less visually sensitive, and they're just chilling at the surface. And these predators are like, great, more food.
Damn. Okay. The question though. What was it? Are human lives more important than non-human lives? Because that's the common theme that's been keep coming up in class. What do we owe them anything? But is that that guilt mentality also putting ourselves above non-human life? Are we protectors? Is that the role that we want to be in? Or are we just all equal and we don't owe them anything? Or did we fuck up badly enough that we owe them something?
Well, my original stance was going to be our life is not more valuable. Because we're so dependent on the whole ecosystem balance. How are you going to tell me my life is more valuable than a bee providing me food? Pollinating my food!
True.
But I do agree. I think we do take a kind of protector standpoint. Which is interesting.
But why? Do you...
Because we owe that, because we've done such destruction to their habitat and the ecosystem balance. I feel like we owe it to other at least organisms to at least start protecting their land.
But also we would never harm a human life to save a non-human life. That's the issue. Even though we say...
I would.
Even though we say, all life is valuable, we still cannot take that stance of, hey, we're gonna run over this rabbit. We're gonna swerve and kill some people.
If you think about it in the context of, other animals, they would do the same.
That's true. Will they?
You know what I mean? A wolf is gonna attack us before, I guess, they have, never mind.
Yeah, it would not... So it would go for a fucking rabbit before coming for us.
Yeah.
They're I'm gonna die.
It's hard because, I guess I wouldn't take you out to save a rabbit. I don't know. I guess where I was coming from was it's all a balance. So why am I here to say that, again, my life is more valuable than a bee or even
a crab.
The organisms that I work with that are so important to the overall ecosystem balance in terms of trophic energy, and without those species, what would that ecosystem even look like?
But are you coming from a stance of that whole species is more important than human life? Or this individual is more important than
I'm
human
looking
life?
at it as species. Because I work with things that reproduce so quickly, where the individual... I guess we are taught in science that the individual doesn't matter in that terms, because it doesn't matter if, they, how, some organisms lay so many eggs expecting half of them to die.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I'm coming from.
That is also buck wild, though. From a philosophical standpoint, why would
I guess I'm thinking, I don't do philosophy. I do science.
But we got a PhD with a philosophical doctor.
Oh, God.
So... We literally are doing philosophy. Science is philosophy.
No!
It is.
Okay, fine. You want me to go on an individual level?
No, what is your thought process, though? Because, I don't do biology. Specifically because of all the fucking moral implications of it. And yet you are here doing fucking biology.
Of course I am. It's the best.
And I need you to think about it,
Yeah. Well, another thing I've been thinking about a lot, I don't know if that's astute, but like a lot of science is just using organisms for your work, not caring what happens to them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, every day I am putting live organisms in ethanol, not caring about it, or
not really thinking about it.
Not thinking about it. I mean, I think about it, but it's the work. It's what you do for the quote-unquote greater good, or for the research. And that is something I think I want to do more conservation work, because you're thinking of organisms as just part of your work instead of, I don't know, their actual benefit to the greater ecosystem, I guess.
But are we trying to conserve the greater ecosystem for humans, though? Like, what? Like, we get paid by humans to do work for humans. I think that this whole system is like...
And a lot of stuff with, like, yeah, even, like, the microplastic part of our lab is conserving, you know, blue crab economy. And, I mean, even Taylor...
That's a fishery thing.
Yeah, exactly. Taylor's work with sperm reproduction and things like that.
What a wild thing
but
to
it's
say
for humans.
with no context.
Oh, sorry. Taylor does work to figure out like sperm counts in male blue crabs, and if we're taking all the male blue crabs out of the system, how is that impacting population in terms of reproduction?
Yeah.
The sperm counts going lower because we're taking out all the bigger blue crabs. Okay.
Taylor's work on sperms.
I always forget.
God, but Taylor also does it too, you know. It's just like,
Yeah, I do sperm.
Yeah, so like
it's all for humans.
And we write in our papers like it's for the greater good, they have inherent value, but do they actually? I don't know.
But this is more of a societal problem.
It is.
Personally, I would like to think I don't value my life more than... But here's the thing, I wouldn't even say... I would say a species, not an individual, which is interesting to myself. I'm finding that out.
Ruminate on it. Yeah. We're gonna think.
We're gonna reflect on that a little bit.
I don't know, I feel like it's so difficult to, I don't know, think on such different scales. Like you said, like reproduction, they reproduce so fast and they're so small.
And I guess that's also, that's what you think about in science too, is we put so much energy into our offspring, whereas other creatures don't. They just, let's just put a bunch out there.
Yeah.
Because we expect half to die. Whereas no, we put like, basically our whole lives, from a certain point after you have a child, you're devoted to just raising that that person.
Offspring.
And I was going to say that thing, and I was like, that's not...
Not a good look.
That's not a good look.
Is that why we put so much effort into conserving charismatic mammals in the sea, though?
That too. When I tell people what I do, they're like, why? Because like, they think marine science. Oh, you're out there saving the whales. Which I get. And that's why everyone wants to work in the shark lab.
Yeah, I guess. And they're doing their own work. I don't know.
I also
don't know.
Are human lives more important than non-human lives?
But also, expanding out a little, then does the whole nature have its own value? Like outside of life, outside of biology?
Because nature is there just to provide resources for life, at least in our minds.
But thinking of like in like traditional indigenous perspectives, like the objects themselves have a soul and life force. Does that have an inherent value? And is that above human life as well, or above or below?
Again, taking it from a science standpoint, I'm not saying this is even how I think, but we're taught, I guess, no, because it's just it's a resource.
It is,
and even like when you think about like the tiniest little microbes and stuff, that's not that's a living organism. That's not the actual land.
No, it is still strictly biology, which is fucked up.
That's our whole view on value. Comes from from
capitalism. It all comes from capitalism. Our value system is strictly capitalistic. We're bound by capital.
No, it's so yeah. Oh
what were you gonna say?
I don't even. Capitalism just got me. I don't even know what I was gonna say.
Just yell capitalism at a conference. Why do you do your research? Capitalism. Baby.
But I mean, whoa. Yeah. That's all I can
The
say.
fact that we are told that, like, humans do come first. Like, that's explicit in
and it's
all
easy
our
to think that
research.
because I'm a human.
Yeah.
I would like to live.
Yeah.
But I do see it. I guess we do take, going back to what you said about like a protector.
Mm-hmm.
I guess there's no instance in which humans see themselves as equal. Because it's either
Mm-hmm.
you care about them so you're trying to protect and conserve them, or
Yes.
you don't give a shit. And you're just trying to do what benefits yourself. Leave off.
I don't know where we
Pause.
left off.
Just say, unpause.
I'll pause. It's fine. It's only like the people that are taking the class that are basically watching it.
Yeah.
And I didn't even tell them at this point, so I'm gonna email them later. After like a couple go up.
Yeah. Hey guys. What is this for? Like a project?
It's my final project.
Okay.
And it's like public outreach, basically.
You're doing a great job.
Oh, thank you.
Leading discussion.
We're just talking about fucking funding all the time. Because, like, I talked with Julia the other day. And we ended up being like, fuck funding sources.
Yeah. Damn. Damn.
I mean, even me, when I joined RDL, the
Mhm.
first thing Art told me was like, okay, you have data, you have people, and you have equipment on board. If something happens, save human life first, and then data. Equipment you can throw away. It's a renewable
Even,
resource.
like, as a scientist, I would expect, like, you know, at least in our lab, it would be, like, data first. It wouldn't be, but it low-key would be, anyway.
Yeah,
But no, human, yeah.
The fact that I'm told that explicitly is concerning to me. And, like, I do sediment research, that's fine, but, like, if you're working on, I don't know, an endangered species, are you gonna say fuck it?
Well,
and
to
save a
us,
human
yeah,
life?
human life comes first.
You have to, because, like, you get liability suits.
It all comes back to, honestly, society and, funding and governments and things like that. Like, even if we value another organism as equal, society doesn't, so it doesn't matter, you have no choice.
Yeah. And you get socially buried if you choose otherwise.
Even the way we do, like, trawl surveys and things like that, you're just killing a ton of fucking fish just to get counts.
To just, like, survey the population, and you're just like...
And if something would happen on someone in that boat, done.
Yeah. You're destroying the habitats of, like... Never good.
But yeah, you're right. Again, I think what I was saying before is, it's never an equal standpoint. It's only ever, I'm going to protect them, or I'm just going to say...
Fuck it, their data.
F them. Yeah, their data. We have, like, 4 refrigerators full of dead blue crabs.
I don't know. This is exactly why I don't do biology.
Even Julia and stuff, she was like putting her samples in KOH because you have to get rid of the copepods. You disintegrate them.
It's so streamlined. The destruction is so streamlined.
It's normal. When I first came in, it was weird to get used to. But at some point, you're just desensitized. Like, I made an REU kill my first crab because it's an invasive species, so we couldn't put it back. I was trying to put them back when I could, but I made him do it because I couldn't.
And that is also upsetting. I don't know. I feel like it's really traumatic. Like, looking at, like, Maria, who does shark shit, that shit is traumatic.
Your shark's dying?
Yeah. Because, you know, you feel for them.
Of course.
And then we're just, like, getting desensitized to it.
No, you are. Like, we had a whole water table full of horseshoe crabs. More than half of them are gone, and you just...
Gone.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Where?
You just let it go. Or Hayden stuff, like, he was getting trying to get blue crab data. Killed so many this summer. Just because they don't survive well in lab environments.
Yeah,
but that's just part of the process.
Yeah.
You're just trying to get, like, maybe, like, 2 to survive. and hatch their eggs.
Christ.
It's just sad.
It is sad.
Science doesn't value that at all. But then, yeah, you go into conservation, which I do. I don't know. I either want to do something in conservation or like management. I don't know. But that's coming from a totally I'm above you standpoint.
I'm gonna mess with the things so that it comes out favorably.
And then you had just this fight with people who don't care, or fight with legislators that want to develop. Ah.
God, it's all so bad.
This is why when I was in undergrad and I was sad about learning all these things, I was just like, honestly, wipe them out. Wipe out human race. Let's go.
But that's also defeatist, you know?
Yeah, it is.
And that's like doomer culture, you know?
Yeah.
And that's not great either.
I also don't want that to happen, but
I don't know, it's just...
I don't know why. I guess I do know when it shifted. I guess it would be during, the Industrial Revolution when we decided...
Oh, this perspective is purely Christian.
Really?
Yeah. So you can trace back a lot of these, like, imperialistic thoughts. It's basically imperialism and, like, colonialism, but on different species. And the basis of imperialism, like, low-key traces back to Christianity. Because, like...
That's crazy to me because, like, obviously I grew up Catholic.
Yeah.
And all you're taught... No, I guess you're not. You're taught that, like, you should value all of God's creatures. But I guess it's more from a human standpoint.
It's more like God made all of it for us. Yeah, that's, like, the base of all the thought process. Like, yeah, Noah saved all the animals, but he was the savior of all the animals and shit. And he made the man, but he got bored, so he made the woman. And then we made all the animals.
Sorry about that.
All the animals, and then Adam named all of them, basically, is the thought.
The fact that the story, this is going way out, the fact that the story we're taught as kids is that women was there because man was born first and he was like lonely, or he needed someone, or we needed to serve man.
Yeah.
We were created from the rib of a man. The fact that, anyway, we're taught that as kids is ridiculous.
And 90% of your genetics comes from your mother.
That's
genetic material. It's not even half and half. It's 90%. Which is why in Twilight, Jacob is attracted to Bella's eggs, and not Edward's sperm. Way off.
Okay,
What? I've been talking about this with Maria last night.
It's so fucking. It's so weird.
No,
I'm so excited for New Moon. Anyway.
Anyway.
No, you're so right. It's all for human. And I guess the only value we ever put onto anything is another human's life.
Another human's life or economy.
Christian
capitalism.
So crazy.
Christianity
It's
is crazy.
so crazy.
It is. And nobody thinks about it.
Yeah, who cares? Who cares what happens to those animals that we're destroying? I only care about your unborn child. That's a week old.
Jesus Christ. Not even a week old, dude. I don't call them alive.
They're
That's
not.
just my perspective.
I agree.
That's just a hunk of cells.
It is. No. But once it's born, who cares what happens? Anyway.
Anyway.
Non-human lives. Yeah, you're never taught anything. I totally came into this thinking I totally value a non-human thing's life the same as my own.
But no.
And I want to think that I do.
But we do not. None of us do.
No.
And we cannot think any other way.
That's the thing. You can't.
It's taboo to think the other way.
It's not even I want to. You can want to, and you can think that you will, but you can't. In the way that the world functions.
No.
Because it's sad,
it is
but it's
sad.
not a human life, so who...
Yeah.
Is it really that impactful? And we kill things every day.
We do.
We're top predators in every scenario.
We are.
We are! People think sharks are scary. Look how many sharks we kill a year.
I don't know.
I guess we aren't. No, we are, because we created technology.
We did create technology. And, Anthropocene, we are killing a bunch of shit just by being.
Well, that's another conversation too. Do we really need everything we rely on today?
Oh, we don't need anything.
But we can never return.
No. And also, like, all of this is strictly Western.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like, we're all having different impacts on the
This is all a Western standpoint. Yeah, because like you said, indigenous cultures would probably think very differently. And they take value in the actual nature, not even just a living being.
Yeah, and it's just wild that, I don't know, I always feel like we as scientists need to like take philosophy courses because it's so beneficial. Like, we gotta think, or else we'll like become fucking, what's his face, Haber and Bosch. Creating fucking like I don't know, bombs type dynamite. I don't know.
Oh my god. No, you're right. I always thought of philosophy in a because I did take a lot of philosophy courses, but I went to a religious school, so it was always in a religious context, and never actual a real world context. Or it's like I took like medieval philosophy.
Oh, the philosophers.
Yes.
The good old philosophers.
The good old philosophers talking about life. Yeah. It is important to think. And it's something I think about, at least in the work I do, and how desensitized I am to literally killing things all the time. I think about that a lot. But also, the more you do it, the more it just becomes normal lab work.
For sure. And it's so easy. I feel like those little statues of mice outside of medical campuses. I feel like we need one for like horseshoe crabs or little things, little sharks.
Understand what we're doing.
Yeah, just think of, instead of those fucking DuPont plastic benches.
Yeah.
Recycle plastic. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Oh. I'm sick. Anyway.
Anyway. Great conversation that we had. I'm glad that you're thinking about shit.
No, I mean, that is something I think about a lot, but now, like, I don't know, what really stuck with me from this conversation was the whole, like, there's no chance that we ever think of another organism as equal, ever.
No.
Even! You know what else I have a problem with?
What do you have a problem with?
Is the fact that we use other creatures for our entertainment.
Oh.
I'm gonna go catch a big-ass, huge whale and put it in a concrete pool and make it work its whole life for me. And then be surprised when it kills someone.
Oh, yeah. Even like the fish that we keep, like the frog that we keep, that I keep.
I have a fish.
Yeah, you have a fish.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a little depressing.
It is depressing. And I was conflicted about getting a fish, but then I thought, you go to the store and you see them in those tiny containers and you're like, I can at least do better than that. But then you're also supporting an industry that's just breeding these fish to be sold.
Entertainment, that's another avenue that we don't think about.
I wrote like a 20-page paper on the animal entertainment industry.
Where's this paper?
It was junior year of undergrad, and it's something I feel so passionate about. And the fact that people think they can own like lions.
Oh, yeah.
It's a totally power dynamic. That's insane. I will burn them to the ground. I will burn SeaWorld one day. Don't release this. It's incriminating.
Did you say your last name?
Yes, I did.
Oh. Maybe I'll move that part out. Just a silence where your last name is said.
Oh, and even like, we ended the whole aquarium thing. Great. It's science and education. I love science and education. That's great. But there's just such a moral issue with keeping any kind of creature like that. But I love going to aquariums.
Yeah, they're cool.
They're great.
We love to see it.
And I think education's a great thing. But you went out and caught this huge shark to then put, for our entertainment, in a little glass tube, essentially.
And they're swimming in circles.
That's it. That's their whole life.
Yeah.
But then again, I don't really have that. Like, I have the feeling with like a shark, but like, let's say like a jellyfish, I don't have that same feeling, which just goes back to
the whole shit. But what about captive bred? Like, jellyfish, we catch the Medusa.
I guess they can't probably survive. They don't know anything else. I don't know. The whole thing is, they can't survive in the wild now because they were bred in captivity.
Yeah. But we made it that way.
Exactly.
You know?
So may as well.
Uh,
It's crazy.
Sometimes science makes me sad.
It makes me very sad.
But like I like doing it.
Me too. And that's why, again, I don't think I
Yeah.
want to. I don't know if I could do research the rest of my. I don't think I'm a research person. I'm learning.
Oh. At least we're getting paid to learn.
I'm not a research person, but now I'm even questioning, like, is conservation itself a good thing?
But if we don't do it,
What's the alternative?
what is the alternative? Also, if we don't get paid, what is the alternative? We basically become Isaac Newtons and we have to fund ourselves. And that's a whole nother issue.
Good conversations.
Policymakers. Fucking bullshit.
Don't get me started on policy. That's why I kind of always wanted to do that, to actually get in there and be like, no.
Nothing's gonna. No, this is doomer talk. But things are not gonna change.
No.
Anytime soon.
Anytime soon.
But we need the data for it to change at all. Which feeds into the whole cycle.
Here's my thing.
Yes.
Also, do we? We were so close to solving the climate crisis in the 80s.
Were we?
There was such public pressure
Oh, yeah.
that finally, like, big oil companies started to be like, okay, fine, we'll go green. Nothing. They had the data. They've had the data for years.
Yeah, we had the data for
Years.
decades.
And we came so close in the UN. We were very close, and nothing came of it.
Yeah.
So what are we doing now? We're just kidding ourselves
We actually
into
are.
thinking anything's gonna ever, like, and also with the climate crisis, and also, like, with the climate crisis, the world, as of right now, are we going to World War III? Maybe.
Perhaps.
I'm just sitting here getting my silly little degree.
Yeah.
Thinking I'm gonna do any difference.
Yeah.
Am I? This is very pessimistic. I'm sorry.
It is very pessimistic. But thinking things through does great wonders.
That's why you just can't think, and you just do. And you just... But then you're just part of the system.
You are part of the system, and then you become just a cog in the good old capitalism machine.
Sorry.
I don't know. I do fucking bomb research.
I love biology. I love thinking of organisms as their place in an ecosystem. You know what I mean?
And figuring out all the cool shit they do.
But how do you go about figuring that out? You kill a ton of them.
Yeah. I don't know.
And even that, you're just thinking of them as a place in your world.
But the fact that we need to justify our research is also upsetting. Because, like, I find it fun. Science is fun. We all like doing
you need
it.
to justify everything.
We have to bring it back to, like, economy or the people. Otherwise you don't.
Because why should you care? Why should
anyone fund you for it?
Yeah. And yeah, why should in terms of science community, why should anyone care? You're giving a presentation, you're like, I love this work, I think it's interesting.
I think it's fun.
I don't.
Yeah.
Someone in the audience. This is boring, like, who cares?
Everyone's gonna be like, that's fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
What importance does it
If you're
have?
ever gonna do science communication, you have to bring it back to something people should innately care about.
Damn. I don't know.
So in conclusion.
Fuck the patriarchy. Fuck capitalism.
Yes. There's no way I can see myself as equal to a non-living thing because I can't.
No, I can. And
We
that's
can't
upsetting.
in the way that the world functions. I want to.
Western world.
The Western world
Yeah.
functions. Absolutely.
Damn. Yeah. Dude, there was this whole thing, off topic, about how the Linnaeus the nomenclature of like all living things, that in itself is very imperialistic, and like, how do you call it? Very colonizer mindset.
everything we do is a colonizer mindset.
Because it's putting things in a nice little box,
Mm-hmm.
and we're just like dividing shit up,
Mm-hmm.
and we're ignoring all indigenous knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Because like we find it, and we name it
The fact that we have no respect
for anything.
for any indigenous like
knowledge.
culture or knowledge is baffling.
Yeah. Pharmaceutical companies go in, they're like, oh, you use it for medicine? Let me trademark.
No, I know better than you. Sorry.
Sorry.
Then even going back, okay, I need to also
Let's get you
this.
fired up.
This doesn't even have to do with even humans don't even value each other.
Oh yeah, dude.
You can get into that whole dynamic,
Mm-hmm.
especially in Western society. We're such an individualistic
Yeah.
society. Only care about yourself. But I guess that's in itself valuing human life, but not others.
Dude, it's
The only reason we
so-
value others is because the liabilities that come from it.
the liabilities and the profits.
Mm-hmm.
Because workers' hours equal money. Capitalism, maybe can't escape it.
Into Amazon.
Even like I don't know, energy workers, uranium miners. Like we recently talked about it. It's
Mhm.
bullshit crazy.
Mhm.
They just go into these caves, come out, and they fucking die, and it's replaceable.
Oh
They're,
yeah.
they're a commodity.
To any capitalism. To any company, we are replaceable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I go into industry, I'm just a piece of the cog. I just need to do work.
There's so many instances of people working through like they got hurt on the job and companies don't give a crap
Mm-hmm.
and they get fired. Anyway, that has nothing to do. It's just
No. In conclusion.
and in conclusion, we only care about ourselves,
Capitalism, baby.
and that's how the Western world functions.
It does. Great. Thank you, Meaghan.